Hello everyone, this is Ron from High Tech Legion, and this is the component installation part of our review of the Cooler Master Cosmos 2 Ultra Tower case. And if you're wondering why there are no side panels, you need to watch the overview video. You can find it in our YouTube channel, hightechlegion.com, or just if you're watching this embedded on our site, just move back a page and you'll see it. And for now, you can see here we are ready to install our components. And the first thing we need to do is, of course, install our motherboard. And it's much easier to work inside the Cooler Master Cosmos 2 because, as you can see, the power supply and the hard drive at the bottom has a separate compartment, even the hard drive cage in the front, and has more than sufficient room here in the motherboard area to install our components and move around. When you move all the wires that were routed here in the front, move them back through these cable routing holes, so it's much easier to work with. And the first step we're going to do is install our motherboard, and there is a etched out here are the motherboard hole index you need to follow depending on the size of the motherboard you are going to install, whether it's motherboard all the way to XL-ATX. So each of these are marked for easier use, and you can use this adapter that they have included, and of course a motherboard standoff. So just easily plug one inside the adapter and put it in one of the assigned holes that you're going to use. Either you can do this by hand or even better with a screwdriver. This adapter makes it easy to install. You don't need to take out your pliers and risk scratching your case. This has internally painted black, as you can see there. And just continue on with whatever size your motherboard you're installing. Just follow the motherboard hole index, and then we can move on to installing our motherboard. Alright, so we have placed our motherboard now. We had I followed the ATX mounting hole guide. This is actually a CEB form factor motherboard. This is the ASUS P9X79WS motherboard, and it's slightly wider than the regular ATX motherboard, but not as wide as an extended ATX motherboard. And as you can see there, it's right at the edge of the cable routing area. But if you install a regular ATX motherboard, it will actually end up right here, just about half an inch away from the where it ends now. And I've already pre-installed the heatsink in there, and you're probably wondering, hey, this is a high-end system, why don't you install a high-end cooling? Well, this is actually a Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo, or similarly looking to the Hyper 212 Plus. And to be honest, the temperatures, this is one of the best in terms of pound for pound cooling solution. It is not the most expensive cooler, and it's also not the largest cooler, but for what the price is and is capable of, it does very, very well. And as you can see there, it comes with a free X79 mounting guide if you already purchased that heatsink. And in terms of clearance issues, this is actually around 157 millimeters tall. So you can install CPU cooler up to 190 millimeters tall inside a Cooler Master Cosmos 2, so this should fit quite easily. Even if you have an Optical HD14, it will fit there as well. And if you have water cooling, you can put it on top and at the bottom. But I've used this cooler because, well, two reasons: it's easy to install, and as I mentioned, the cooling capabilities are good, and it gives me enough clearance to populate all 8 DIMM slots without resorting to the self-contained liquid cooling solution. And so we prepare for our test bed, and as you can see there, the next step before we put in everything is I could actually install the video card even if without installing my other components yet. Although actually I'd install probably my SATA connectors and my hard drives first before it gets blocked in there. And usually what I would do at this point is install my power supply already, but since the compartment for the power supply is separate anyway, I could take my time, install the other components, and install that later on. And it's very convenient. As you can see there, there's plenty of room up there to route your cables. There's no need to remove the top fan to route the 8-pin later on, and to route the cables extra here at the top. I don't need to remove extra fan here unless you have like a push-pull setup where you have a radiator here and another fan. But even still, you still have plenty of room if you have a 120 millimeter fan radiator in there. So that's what you do next. Install our peripherals, install our hard drive and our optical drive, and install power supply, and then end it with installing the video card. You can install a hard drive or a 2.5-inch SSD drive inside the Cooler Master Cosmos 2 in 2 separate compartments, either the one in front of the 20 millimeter intake fan or at the bottom area where it is cooled by a pair of 120 millimeter fans. And to that, just take out one of the caddies. They use similar caddies, both the top and bottom area. And as you can see there, it is easily flexible. And to install a drive, simply install it in one of the with the connectors facing the open area, not the locked area with a mesh, and make sure it is in an unlocked position so you can bend it, because you can't bend it in place if it's in a locked position because it's stiffer, as you can see there. And just align the mounting holes on one side first, and then align the other side into place like so. And after that's done, just simply push the lock. Actually no, you could lock it in place in there. It won't lock in place unless you actually finished it. And make sure that the locking on the side is not blocking the size of the hard drive cage. And as simple as that. As for 2.5 inch drives, you can see here is that it has these mounting holes at the bottom. Similarly, you should have the connector facing the external side before when you install it, and you secure it with the smallest screw in the bag of accessories. So once that's done, as you can see there, that's what it looks like. Again, push it inside the lock with the cover in the unlocked position first, and then just lock it in place. If you push it in while it's in locked position already, it will not push it all the way. It's right there, and then you're ready to plug it in through the other side. To install a 5 1/4 inch external drive bay device, you must first take out a drive bay cover, and as shown in the overview video, that's easily done by moving the lock to the left side and pulling out the drive bay cover. As for the lock, it is a simple tool-free design. If you press it, two barbs come out, one in front and one in the back. That locks the drive in place, and you press it once again and the barbs retract. So you can easily install a full-size 5 1/4 inch device in there. Look at this optical drive. It's a bit tight on first install, and once it is aligned properly, see the mounting holes aligned there, you can press it, and it can't be pushed from the back, and it stays in place. Although one thing I've noticed is that since the barbs are only on the left side, installing a shorter 5 1/4 inch device like this Cooler Master Silent Pro hybrid fan controller, which only has connectors on the front, it doesn't lock in place properly. For example, if I try to align the mounting hole in there and press a lock, it still gets pushed out because it only locks on one side here. So I would suggest, if you're going to do this, is add a screw to mount it on the other side as well, so that it is more secure. It's just one little thing I've noticed in there when with the use of this tool-free locking mechanism that they use on the Cosmos 2 case. And the next component we're going to install is the power supply, and the power supply bay is actually in a separate compartment in the Cooler Master Cosmos 2, and you can either install your power supply if you have a fully modular power supply like this Silent Pro hybrid power supply from Cooler Master. You can just easily slide it in the front and lock it in place. But most users actually don't have a modular power supply, unfortunately. So for that inconvenience, what Cooler Master has done is they have this protruding area here that you can actually remove. They're secured by thumb screws. Just remove these, 4 of them actually. It's 2 on the top and 2 more right underneath that. And you might need, since it's freshly opened from the box, the thumb screws are tight, so you'll probably need a screwdriver to loosen them up a bit. And I can completely remove this mounting bay here for the power supply, and there we go. So you don't lose a thumb screw. You remove it, and then from here slide on your power supply, of course with the fan facing downward for ventilation. And there is actually a rubber sole underneath it, surrounding it, just so that it absorbs the vibration and kind of holds it in place. And after that, put back, of course, your power supply, secure it with some screws here outside, and then you should take the screws from the screw kit. The screws that don't have the you can see, let me just move here so you can see that the smooth, these screws actually have the smooth finish here on the inside. These are the ones that secure the drive into the hard drive bay lock, the power supply bay cover, so that it doesn't scratch the powder coated black paint. So once that is done, plug in all the rest, and let's move on with the rest of the installation. Alright, now we have most of our components installed, with the exception of course of the cables and the video card. As you can see here, there's plenty of room to install even the longest video card. We have the HD 6990 in here, which is just a little over 12 inches, a foot long, and the graphic card length maximum that you can actually fit inside the Cosmos 2 is about just a little over 15 inches. Or 385 millimeters, so that is more than enough space to fit in the 699. As you can see there, we don't need to maneuver around. No hard drive bays that are blocking our installation. Of course, you have to remove the drive bay cover first, and these use thumb screws. There's 10 in total, and technically it's called 10 plus 1 since there's one that is vertical in here, and since this is a dual slot card, you have to remove 2 slots. It's a bit tight since it came directly from the factory. Let's remove this here and remove the drive bay cover. There we go. And just I'm going to install it here at the bottom. PCI-E. Oh, I removed the wrong slot cover. No problem. Just move that as well. And you can actually install, as you can see here, since there are 10 PCI-E expansion slots, you can install up to quad SLI and one more. You can see since quad SLI or quad CrossfireX only covers 8 slots, and for dual slots means you can even have 5, or I don't even know if that's officially supported yet, but 5-way SLI, 5-way CrossfireX, since you have 10 slots. If your motherboard supports it, the Cosmos 2 can handle it without any problems at all. There, just put back your thumb screw in place, and it actually makes the 6990 look small for once. As you can see there, there's more than enough room in there for even routing your cables. Yeah. It's a bit hard to screw this last screw in here, since the right edge of this is just sticking out a little bit. It's not completely. There we go. And yeah, we have everything installed, and time to install all the cables, since this is a modular power supply. And after that, I'm going to talk about how the cable management was with the Cosmos 2. Alright, so here we have all our components installed now. As you can see, the cable management is exceptional, and it's very clean in here, and you even have a routing hole here for putting the cables from the power supply from the bottom compartment into the upper compartment here, such as this PCI-E cable connector that I've routed directly down there, and also the connectors for the front panel, like the USB and the front panel controls. Also, as you can see there, I didn't even use all of the cable routing area here on the right side, with the exception of course all the SATA cables are all right there, so they're easy accessible. And here at the top, there's virtually no clearance issue at all. I had no problems installing this 8-pin power, and even I have one of these motherboards that has the front panel audio here at the middle, which can be quite annoying when building, instead of being here at the lower left hand. But as you can see here, there's plenty of room to maneuver here, so that wasn't an issue at all to be able to route that in there. There's even an area here, a large cutout for routing cables, and I didn't even get to use that since I have there's plenty of room here for the 8-pin power right in the back. I didn't even need the extension since the power supply I used reaches all the way up. It's not that far, and as you can see, everything else is very clean, and that's put in. Return actually the side panel for the left side, and let us go to the back of the motherboard tray and see what our cables look like there. I've tried to manage as much as I can. Of course, due to time constraint, I wasn't able to make it as neat as I did with here on the left side panel. Alright, so this is what it looks like behind the right side panel, and as expected, there are plenty of leftover cables, and I wasn't able to completely secure them and clean them, as well as the left side panel. But of course, since this is the right side panel anyway, that's not an issue as long as it doesn't block the airflow. As you can see, everything is in here. I didn't route any cables here in the front. All are actually stored here on the right side panel. And if you notice here, the back plate for the motherboard, just how big it is. It doesn't, although like you've seen other full tower cases, even though it's full tower, it has still has some clearance issues. But with the case of the Cosmos 2, as you can see here, there's virtually no clearance issues at all. That's even about an inch more clearance here at the bottom, and both the right sides even clears the DIMM slots on the left and right side. And see the 8-pin power cable and the front panel audio routed here in the upper right hand corner. And you didn't even get to use this top mounting hole here, except for the top fan. And you can see they're all labeled. So your top fan for the front panel fan controller, and there's still room here for the SATA connectors and SATA power and cable connectors. You can see here clearly, and they're all routed into that routing hole here in the front. And I could still do some cable management here, but I can actually close this right side panel without any issues at all. And if you have a non-modular power supply, what you can do, if you're not using the bottom part, you can remove all that cage and put in the extra cables there. Or you can just, actually there's more room here, it's about 40 millimeters of space here from the back of the motherboard tray to the right side panel. So you can store extra cables there, tie them here to the back of the motherboard tray, and you should be set. I'll leave it like this and put in our right side panel, power on our Cosmos 2 system build, and let's take a look at what the LED looks like and what the fan controller function, how well the fan controller function works. I believe there's an LED fan in the front. Of course, we were not sure until we actually fired up. So let's continue that, and let's move on to the rest of the review. You can see the LED lighting up there, with the activity LED lighting blue, while the fans are indicated by the fan logo lighting up red. And red is actually the highest fan speed, and you can adjust it just by clicking it. Blue is the lowest, while purple is medium, and red is the maximum. You can do that for each one of the attached fans. See there, I'm setting it to the lowest fan speed. And this button is actually for the LED on and off switch for the front panel and any of the fans that are connected. You see that it beeps once it reaches maximum, similar to the Cooler Master's Stormtrooper full tower case. Once it hits the maximum fan speed, it actually makes that double beeping sound.